9 to 5 is bullshit. Unpaid lunch breaks are bullshit. Working all day and going home to have 2 hours of free time before bed is bullshit. 5-day work week is bullshit. Working yourself to death is bullshit. Retiring at 65, unlikely, is bullshit.
I'm only 2 years into working my 9 to 5 job, and this is awful. So you're telling me I'm having the Sunday scaries every week to dread 5 days of my life, to then be rewarded with a little thrill on Friday, but then be so tired from working that I pass out at like 10 p.m., live for Saturdays, love them, but really that is only one full day of fun, because Sunday, have a great Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon rolls around and I have the Sunday scaries and I'm dreading my life for the next 5 days.
And then I actually realized that I don't want to work for a living. I don't want to work for a living.
I don't want a job. I don't want to be a corporate girly. I don't want to climb the ladder. I don't want to be a boss babe. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to be the breadwinner. I do not want to do that. You know what I want to do? I want to be home. I want to be cooking in the kitchen. I want to be cleaning. I want to be shopping. I want to be making brownies. I want to be cooking dinner.
Can we talk about work for a minute? Like, I wasn't made for this shit. Like, I was not made to wake up every morning at 4:30 in the morning and go to...
Described her typical workday and how it's dark by the time she gets off from her shift.
I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy.
9 to 5 is bullshit.
See, here's the craziest part about absolutely all of this. Every woman in this video has the ability to take the off ramp. All of them can take the off ramp. Every one of these women is good looking enough to go out there and get married and get a guy who's going to take care of them. None of these women are ugly. They could all, I don't know where they live, but they could all find a guy that's going to take care of them. I know people are saying, like feminism, women, you know, there's a shortage of good men. There's a shortage of, you know, these financially attractive men. No, there's not. There's tons of guys out there making good money. The only difference is whether or not you are actually going to get with that guy and be a good partner. None of these women actually want to be wives. They just want an off-ramp, and they don't want that off-ramp to be a man. And that's always been the method. That's always been the way out, right? Ever since women got in the workforce in mass in like the 70s, the method has always been get in there, get the husband, get up out of there. But they don't want to do that. And the craziest part is they've pretty much made it to where they can't. They pretty much made it to where they can't because feminism has taught them to hate all men. So now the men don't even want to really be bothered with them. Now they're like, where are all the good men gone? Men aren't going to clubs. Men aren't approaching women. None of that. The funniest thing about this is what I think it's like the third or fourth girl.
I don't want a job. I don't want to be a corporate girly. I don't want to climb the ladder. I don't
This chick.
want to be a boss babe. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to be the breadwinner. I do not want to do that. You know?
All the stuff that this woman is saying is the stuff that men wanted. I'm gonna try to go back and see if I can get this chick one more time.
I don't want to work for a living.
I don't want a job. I don't want to be a corporate girly. I don't want...
The men wanted to be corporate guys. They wanted to be the corporate dude bro. Lots of men over the years have wanted to be the guy in the suit with the briefcase, going to work, winning the day, right? Whatever it entails being corporate. There were so many young men who wanted to be businessmen. They wanted to be businessmen when they were in school. The teacher was like, hey, Timmy, what do you want to be? I want to be a businessman. He didn't specify. He just saw guys in suits with briefcases and he wanted to be that. And now she said, I don't want to be that. But you went to college and you took out $70,000 in student loans to be that. And you cursed all men on the way to becoming that. She says, I don't want to climb the corporate ladder. All the men that you hate so much, they wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Every single one of them. Because it's status. It's just like a fighting tournament. It's just like the UFC. It's just like a football tournament. I want to be the one at the top. I want to be the top dog. They all wanted to be the top dog because men are competitors. We don't care about sacrificing our youth and our time if it means we're going to get something out of it. Yeah, paycheck is great, But social recognition is even better, especially when it comes with a wife and a kid and a friend group you can brag to and say, I'm this guy. Women wanted to compete against men, but they're not built for the long haul. And like I said, they hate all men, so they don't want to get married. So now you don't even have that off ramp.
I want to climb the ladder. I don't want to be a boss babe.
I wanted to be a boss. There's plenty of men who wanted to be the boss, but you guys wanted DEI. You guys wanted affirmative action. You guys wanted all this stuff to be able to compete with men. And now look, now you're stuck. You can't get off the ride because you've displaced all the men. All the men are no longer competing with you because they're not allowed. There's more scholarships for women. There are mandatory spots in every college for women. It's mandatory that every job has to have a certain amount of women in supervisor positions. So now you can't get that man with that supervisor role and that supervisor money to retire you. You voted for this.
I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to be the breadwinner.
Men want to be the breadwinner. Men always wanted to be the breadwinner. We always wanted to be financial Superman, financial Batman. That's what all men wanted. But then you guys said that your grandmothers wanted that. Your grandmothers wanted to compete with men. Your mothers wanted to compete with men. They taught you to compete with men. Now you can't get out of the cage. The fight don't stop until you drop. When you die, that's when the fight is over. Or until your tag team partner tags, you got to tag that person in. You're supposed to tag your husband in, but you guys don't want to get married. You hate men.
Not want to do that. You know what I want to do? I want to be home.
No, you don't. No, she wants to be home, but she doesn't want to make a home.
I want to be cooking in the kitchen.
For who? For you? For yourself? You want to be making the pizza for yourself, muffins for yourself? Or you want to be doing that for a husband and your child? Because feminism told you not to want those things.
I want to be cleaning.
Cleaning for who? Cleaning after who? You're just cleaning up after yourself? You got to do that anyways. You can go home and just clean after yourself. Do you want to clean for a family? Because I thought cleaning was cleaning up after a man and cleaning up after a kid. I thought that was oppressive.
I want to be shopping. I want to be making brownies.
Once again, for who? Who are you making these brownies for? Is this like some hippie thing? You making weed brownies or something like that? Who are you doing this for? Is it just for you? You're just making brownies for yourself? You're cleaning for yourself? You're cooking for yourself? Or are you making a home? Is this in an effort to make a home with a man, for a child? Because feminism taught you guys to hate all of that. And now men understand that you hate them. The birth rates are plummeting. You guys will never vote in a man's direction. You won't vote for men to have anything. You only want more. You want more of everything, but you also want to do less work to get more of everything, which is completely illogical unless you have a slave, i.e. a husband, but y'all don't want that.
I want to be cooking dinner.
Can we talk about work for a minute? Like, I wasn't made for this shit. Like, I was not made to wake up every morning at 4:30 in the morning and go to...
Described her
Men were. Men were made for that. Men were made to get up early, work throughout the day, come home, do a little bit more work, go to sleep. Men were built for the monotony of the 9 to 5. It was literally built for with a man's biology in mind. Women are up and down throughout the month. Men are very stable. Men are very, very stable. The 9 to 5 work day, the 9 to 5 work week, the 40-hour work week was built with men in mind, not women. It wasn't built for you. But this is what you guys wanted, and there's no off-ramp because you don't want to be wives. I'm not even going to talk about all this submitting and all that stuff. You guys just hate men. There's plenty. You can't convince me that there's not plenty of men willing to take each one of these women. All you have to do is be a decent human being. How hard is that?
typical workday and how it's dark by the time she gets off from her shift.
I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like,
You would have so much time if you had a husband who was doing all the work and you were doing all the stuff at home. Like it's academic. 1 + 1 = 2. And it's, I'm not just going to sit here and brag or anything like that. I'm just going to say it's super funny to see all the fallout happening. And this is, I know she's Gen Z. I don't know about all the other women in this video, but this is Gen Z. They're burned out. They're done. They're fried.
I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy.
In case you guys don't know, this leads to socialism. They don't want to be wives. They don't want to be mothers. They don't want to add to the birth rate. They don't want to be your wife. They don't want to cook your dinner. They don't want to cook brownies for you or your kids. They don't want to clean up after you or your kids. This is going to lead to socialism. This is why Zoran Mamdani, whatever his name is, the guy in New York, got voted in as the mayor. Socialism. It gives women that safety net, while at the same time, it keeps them somewhat free from having to be under a man's thumb. That's what they want. We want the freedom that a married woman would have, but not the responsibility or oppression, as feminism has taught them. I'll do a whole other video at a whole other time about how women are going to end up voting in socialism, but it already happened in New York. If it happened in New York, it's 100% going to happen in LA, in places like Chicago and Dallas. It's going to hit all the major cities, because all of these women who live in major cities, they can't find husbands because they ran them all off with the internet, right? They ran them all off with the dating apps, just swiping on men and not picking any of the men. There's tons of good men out there who make good money, but they're not 6'3", 6'4". They're not Chad. They're regular, right? But they would love a woman, take care of her, all of that. So the women in the big cities, they messed over all the good guys by sleeping with the bad guys. Now they can't get off they can't get off the work bus. They got to stay on the ride, and they're crashing out, and they're going to vote in more socialist foolishness, especially as the economy starts to dip. So y'all better buckle up, because it's going to get ugly.